High grade Perfect Strike Gundam. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gundam.tk, and that's the almost perfect real grade strike spinning around there, but empty plates, and you've seen all the parts here of the high grade, means that it's time to turn this into something that looks, well, a little cheaper than that. And since the shoulders here are going to be sealed on due to the seals, here's your first look at the Perfect Strike Gundam. Looking pretty cool, especially just to see the green, the yellow, and the red there in short order, with the two shades of blue over there to go along with the clean, simple colors of the regular Strike Gundam, where they're all going to be popping, thanks, of course, to the fact that he's got seals all over the place. Looking good so far, although you have to wonder if those legs are going to be able to keep standing straight up and down. Before he's back heavy, let's take a look at articulation, where the front skirts here are going to move up like this. Legs can come all the way up, only a 90-degree bend, and because they're on the old school hips there, they're not going to get much more than 45 out that way. But the ankles are going to have a very good range of motion, especially coming back, that you can cover up here with the ankle protector. Upper body here is only going to twist this much to the side, and the head itself is just going to be on a single cap there. And so it's not going to be able to move very much, and even more so, it's not going to be able to turn very well because it's going to get jammed on those Strike trademark raised gray sections there, even though they are seals. The arms, yeah, those will rotate around as expected, but for the arms themselves, normally you'd be getting a little bit more posability here, except if you try to bring it out, it's actually going to bang into this part here of the sword version. You can rotate this around, and 90-degree for the arms means you're not going to get anything fancy in the reach across and touch the other arm department. Nothing fancy over here for the launcher, but for the sword variation, you can take this shield attachment and plug that in. But it's really all about the big guns, or the big sword, which just happens to be getting plugged in here first. It's got a nice attachment to it, and then the gun itself will just plug in. And you can absolutely guess that that's going to be the first reaction to him, so some leg reordering is going to be in order. And with the legs angled back there, you can see that with everything in the right position, everything is just going to be ready to go. This guy is absolutely loaded for bear there. Colors all over the place, thanks to the seals, but also thanks just to the plastic and the whole offset between the launcher and the sword version there, combined with the red and the black for the ale, and just that black and that very nice gray on the inner frame. Color-wise, he really can't be beat unless you wanted to go paint him up properly. But in terms of the overall dynamics, when you're taking a look at that, just look how long this kit is. He's absolutely as long as he is wide there, if you're not going to count just the length of these wings there. But from the front, actually, it's going to do a pretty good job of keeping things hidden. As you can just really see, you're just going to be seeing the shoulder parts there, with the launcher part getting even lost in it. And the ale part in the back, really, unless you're looking at it from the side or at a back angle, it's something that can get lost outside of the green there of the gun, which is going to show through pretty prominently. Height comparison now, here you can see that he's a lot shorter, as he should be. The legs being positioned that way isn't going to help compared to the real grade Zeta Gundam, where you can guess that that red and black inspired backpack probably came from. If you want to talk wings though, how cool is this as a combo to send out Kira Yamato in the real grade Freedom and Mula Flaga here in the Perfect Strike? But I think a more interesting comparison here is going to be the mountain that's sitting on its side here on the left, compared to the wall, which is here on the right. And even compared to the CeraV 2-ish Black CeraV that I painted up over here, with the Seraphim on the back, you can see that he's still going to be a lot larger, and by he, I'm talking Perfect Strike, even if you were to swing up the knee cannons over there. But you can't talk about three kinds of add-ons, and never mind taking all three of them, mixing and matching to put the whole best full equipment set on, without going all the way back to 1990. This is the Gundam F90 here. Cool thing about this is that this is a 1/100th kit, unlike the 1/144th here on the left. Still, you can definitely see that without the influence of Katoki Hajime or a master grade, his limbs have not been lengthened. The only thing that's long about him, though, is his face. Ground poses now, which used to be the only option here for the high grade before they added the ability to put in an action base too. But with no beam rifle, you can always put it in, but it's going to be the least exciting of all of his multitude of weapons here. Here's the Panzereisen rocket anchor, going to be a little bit strange though because you have to twist the arm around somewhat awkwardly. But pop off this attachment here at the end, and you can attach the lead on. You can see that it's going to be drooping down just a little bit, but nonetheless, you can recreate some of the fun here of the anime for a reasonable price. In lieu of the shield, the Panzereisen rocket anchor there can be used as a smaller version, but the Midas Messer beam boomerang is going to look pretty good thanks to that effect part. The only problem is going to be, though, is that when you actually put it in hand, if you're expecting any sort of a proper grip there outside of this one where it's in there off to the side, which is going to look a little awkward if you try to do anything else with it, it's just going to fit loosely. So pretty much you just have to hope that gravity is going to get it somewhere and keep it there, hopefully in a position that looks cool. But sometimes there's some just nice handy things about solid, reliable, old school high grades here with the anti-ship sword in hand. You can see that it's not going to have very many weight issues here. Here it's at a slightly awkward angle, but so far it's going to stay exactly where you want it to, even though you're not going to have too many options on the way you place it in the hand itself. But the white parts at either end are going to look good, and that beam there, even if there's only one, looking like it could do some damage to a certain Kira Yamato. And so far, no matter what angle I put it at, no issues with weight whatsoever. A little trickier though is going to be the Hyper Impulse beam cannon here, as you can take this, detach it from here, and then you're going to be able to rotate it down into a few positions, but you can see that it's going to want to come up in something that's going to work pretty natural, or so it seems, with the left hand. And with the manual telling you exactly how to twist things out properly, basically just pull it all the way down, rotate it forward, and then you're going to get a nice 90-degree bend up like that. And it's the kind of thing for a high grade to be able to hold a weapon this intricate, this well, under the shoulder very, very well is a problem that a lot of Gundams that are a lot more expensive from a lot higher grades can't necessarily do, and it's held very well there in hand. Definitely a lot of fun so far. And here is two near perfect strikes with the real grade there, just with an ale and just playing around there with the strike in the launcher, whereas you've got the high grade custom made for it. Bandai, how nice would it have been if you had just included a few extra parts. You can't put on the shield and this one, which is a little bit unfortunate, and some yellow seals for that shield. Bandai really would have gone a long way to making these, at least from a distance, look visually comparable. The difference being, this guy's all plastic. And side by side there, in terms of the sheer amount of details, there's absolutely no doubt that the real grade is just going to absolutely crush. However, I don't know how your real grade strikes have held up over the years, but mine is definitely wonky ankles and he just goes toppling over. And the thing about this guy is that since he wants to fall down all the time, there's about 50 million different parts that you've got to adjust to get him back properly positioned. With the high grade, there's so much less. So every once in a while, sometimes simple is better. But for a final bit of cool and to show off a little bit more of the ale pack perhaps, or at least just the idea of getting him up in the air, Action Base 2 or one of the various Gunpla bases is going to help you get him up there with the weapons all spread out. He is looking pretty cool, and the toes bending down is definitely going to be a plus. So that's going to wrap up my look at the mobile suit mode here for this high-grade Perfect Strike Gundam. Lots of fun, lots of options, and lots of different things that you can do. Some of them in the manual and some of them not. You can always just go and play around and add some more. But I'd love to hear what you think with a comment down below, and stick around for my final verdict. I'll compare this to the real grade a bit, and I'd love to hear your thoughts there as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Dio, what did you do to my grandfather?